being a living testimony to all of everybody, all the rappers, trappers, hustlers, anybody that's getting in this game.
Police say young Dolph was inside Makita's around 12:30 in the afternoon Wednesday when he was gunned down.
Tonight, we strongly encourage everyone to stay home if you do not have to be out.
The rapper Young Dolph is gunned down at a South Memphis cookie shop.
There will be extra police presence in many parts of the city.
And that the person killed is Anthony Mims, also known as Big Juke. Now, Big Juke is the brother of rapper Yo Gotti.
An orange mound Wednesday at Spotswood and Bunton. Those who live nearby tell us Taylor was actually shot the night before, discovered lifeless.
They've literally been Memphis for 3 straight years since Young Dolph died. I've never seen some shit like this.
It seems like the streets aren't playing around when it comes to avenging Young Dolph. Ever since he got taken out by his rivals, the body count has been rising. These alleged killers now have to worry about more than just the law. Dolph's crew has been relentlessly hitting the streets seeking retribution. When the ops decided to take the life of Memphis legend Young Dolph, they probably didn't realize just how much love and respect he had in the community. His people were not about to let it slide, and they've been out there spinning the block making sure everyone involved feels the heat.
Police say young Dolph was inside Makita's around 12:30 in the afternoon Wednesday when he was gunned down.
The moment Dolph was taken down, things got real. We're talking about street justice at its rawest. Dolph's crew was on go time immediately, and even the police knew what was coming. They started telling everyone to stay home and avoid going outside unless it was absolutely necessary. That's how serious they knew the retaliation would be.
Tonight, we strongly encourage everyone to stay home if you do not have to be out.
The rapper Young Dolph is gunned down at a South Memphis cookie shop.
There will be extra police presence in many parts of the city.
The cops even beefed up their presence around Yo Gotti's business, anticipating a hail of bullets.
There is a team of people right now trying to keep the peace and stop any more bloodshed from happening.
Yeah, they're trying. Their efforts seem to have worked last night.
But no matter how much they tried, the extra police presence didn't stop anything from going down. The violence was inevitable. Young Dolph was tragically K-worded on November 17, 2021 after being shot 22 times in his chest, neck, chin, both arms, and multiple times in his back. By the end of that year, Memphis had become one of the most dangerous cities in the country due to a spike in homicides. The bloodshed in Dolph's name was relentless, with many lives lost in the aftermath. One of the most notable deaths was Big Juke, Young Gotti's brother. Big Juke had mocked Dolph's death, and it seems like karma caught up with him.
Can't do no shows, ain't save no money, so guess what? I'm gonna come say today.
He also had ties to Hernandez Govan, the alleged mastermind behind Dolph's murder, which only added fuel to the rumors of Yo Gotti's involvement.
43-year-old Hernandez Govan, who was just indicted in the rap star slaying, along with Johnson and Cornelius Smith.
But just how many lives were lost in the wake of young Dolph's death? Let's dig a little deeper. To start, Dolph's 2 accused killers have both been arrested and are currently facing trial. Their criminal histories are so extensive that it makes you wonder how they were even free to commit the murder in the first place. On January 11, 2022, the news broke that U.S. Marshals had arrested 23-year-old Justin Johnson, also known as the Memphis rapper Straight Drop. This came just 5 days after Straight Drop was identified as one of the suspects in the murder of Memphis rapper Young Dolph. Law enforcement had offered a $15,000 reward for his capture, and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation had placed him on the state's most wanted list.
Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith are both in custody and have been indicted. Now, both are charged for first-degree murder.
U.S. Marshals took Johnson into custody Tuesday near Terre Haute, Indiana, several days after authorities announced a warrant and reward for his arrest.
The arrest got everyone talking, especially about how Straight Drop was even free to commit murder in the first place, considering his past criminal history. Let's rewind to January 31, 2017. Officers responded to a shooting at a bowling alley in Memphis. When they arrived, they found 3 wounded victims who all reported being shot by a black man wielding an assault rifle. Apparently, the guy had been involved in a huge fight inside inside the bowling alley. After the brawl, he went out to his car in the parking lot, grabbed a gun, walked back to the front door of the bowling alley, and opened fire before taking off in a silver sedan. One woman was left with a gunshot wound in her thigh, one man got shot in his forearm, and another man had a shoulder graze. Investigators received an anonymous tip that the shooter was Justin Johnson, who matched the description given by witnesses. They also discovered that his girlfriend, Raquel Hunter, had helped him flee the scene. She was tracked down by officers and admitted to driving him away from the shooting, even pointing him out in a photo lineup. At that time, Justin, or Straight Drop, was just 18 years old. He was arrested and charged with 3 counts of attempted murder, employing a firearm during the commission of a felony, and vandalism after he also shot up a truck in the parking lot. Despite the severity of his crimes, he had no prior criminal record and he cooperated fully with law enforcement, admitting to the shooting. This led to a surprisingly light sentence of just 5 years in prison, followed by probation. But here's where it gets even more shocking. Justin was released from prison after serving only 6 months due to his perfect behavior while incarcerated. He would later be sentenced to federal prison on a weapons offense, serving just over 2 years before being released in 2021. So had the state of Tennessee actually imposed a harsher punishment, Straight Drop would have still been locked up and wouldn't have had the chance to be involved in young Dolph's murder. The system's leniency essentially set the stage for this tragic outcome. Before his arrest by U.S. Marshals, Straight Drop took to Instagram claiming he would turn himself in on January 10th. Instead of doing so, he dropped a music video and got arrested the very next day.
Stop playing 50 shots in 20 seconds, this shit go fast like saying we put switches on.
It's unclear if his social media activity helped the U.S. Marshals pinpoint his location, but it sure seems like his online presence played a role in his capture. Meanwhile, the second accused killer was already in custody. Cornelia Smith, 32 years old, had been arrested on December 9, 2021 for a carjacking that happened on November 10th. This incident took place at a gas station, and the vehicle stolen was the white Mercedes coupe used in young Dolph's murder, which was also tied to another deadly shooting. Smith has since been indicted on multiple charges: first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm, employment of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and theft over $10,000. What's even more shocking is that Smith was free to commit murder despite his prior arrest in 2018 for aggravated kidnapping, aggravated assault, and domestic assault. On February 27, 2018, a woman reported that she had been kidnapped days earlier by Cornelia Smith, the father of her child. She told police that he had taken her to return a pair of shoes, but instead of driving her home, he just kept going. When she tried to jump out of the vehicle, he locked the doors and pulled out a silver and black handgun, threatening to blow her brains out if she tried anything else. He then started punching and kicking her in the face, accusing her of cheating on him before pistol whipping her. He threatened to kill her family, blaming them for supposed infidelity on her part, and kept her at his place for 3 days before finally dropping her off on a street corner where she called the police. For unknown reasons, this case was entirely dismissed. Adding to the bizarre twist, a now-deleted music video of Straight Drop rapping in front of the same abandoned home where the stolen Mercedes was found went viral. Initially, it was believed that Straight Drop's associate CEO Bobby owned the vehicle, as he could be seen in multiple pictures with it on his now-deleted Instagram. Another associate, Jojo Splat, was also pictured in front of the same Mercedes, suggesting that none of them actually owned the vehicle but were all flexing with a stolen car to look rich. Bobby was arrested only 7 days after Dolph's death, when police questioning him about a stolen vehicle found weapons and drugs in his girlfriend's apartment. Rumors quickly spread that he was being questioned over Dolph's death, leading to snitching allegations. Similar allegations were made about Cornelius, especially after U.S. Marshals went looking for Straight Drop following his arrest. It's crazy how these two were able to get away with so much criminal activity. Many people were outraged, feeling that this case only received the attention it did because young Dolph was a celebrity. This outrage might have fueled Dolph's crew's anger, leading them to go on a killing spree for street justice. Now let's dive into the number of bodies that have been dropped since young Dolph's death. The first target was a grim example of what was in store for anyone involved in young Dolph's murder or connected to those responsible. Comedian Derion D. Moneychilds made the mistake of joking about Dolph's passing in an online post. Just a week later, he was already gunned down. His killing marked the beginning of a streak of revenge that couldn't be stopped. In January 2022, another high-profile target was taken out. Big Newski, a rapper signed to Moneybagg Yo and cousin of Big 30, was shot at the New Horizon River Apartments on Kazasa Road around 7 p.m. When the shooting stopped, a 26-year-old man lay dead. dead. Big Newski was said to be connected to Justin Johnson, aka Straight Drop, one of the main suspects in Dolph's murder. This connection was speculated based on photos showing both of them standing in front of the same car. After Big Newski's death, Straight Drop posted a picture of him online captioned, "Lost my brother, fighting to keep my head up. The pain was real, but Dolph's people weren't finished yet." Straight Drop and the others charged with Dolph's murder allegedly had ties not only to CMG and Yo Gotti, but also to the Memphis gang Trula Mafia. The OG of this gang, Joshua Taylor, aka CEO Teezy, was also on the cops' radar for the Dolph hit. However, Teezy wouldn't be around much longer. On June 14, 2023, officers responded to a call about a man down at Spotswood Avenue near Bunton Street at 12:56 p.m. They found Taylor suffering from gunshot wounds, dead at the scene. Reports suggested that he had actually been shot the night before and was discovered lifeless in a car near a church around 1 p.m.
An Orange Mound Wednesday at Spotswood and Bunton. Those who live nearby tell us Taylor was actually shot the night before, discovered lifeless.
News outlets labeled Teezy as a high-profile gang member and linked him publicly to the group that murdered Dolph. YouTube journalist King AK even speculated that Straight Drop would have needed Teezy's go-ahead to carry out the hit on Dolph, implying that by taking out Teezy, Dolph's crew was eliminating a key figure.
Teezy ain't just no gang member. Teezy was the head nigga of Trula Mafia. Anything to do with Young Dolph death, Justin Johnson. Teezy at the end of the day gives the okay.
The cycle of revenge did not stop there. The next shocking casualty was a female rapper, Destiny Golden, aka Lotta Cash Desto. Her murder demonstrated that no one was off limits. On September 24, 2022, Desto was with a female friend in the 5500 block of Richmond Avenue around 2:40 a.m. when they stopped behind a dark four-door vehicle at a traffic light. Two male shooters emerged from the dark vehicle, walked up to Desto's car and opened fire, killing Desto and injuring her passenger. This brutal attack led many to believe it was another act of retribution for Young Dolph's murder. In a twist that nobody saw coming, another person linked to orchestrating Young Dolph's hit was none other than Lotta Cash Desto's father, Hernandez Govan.
And that the person killed is Anthony Mims, also known as Big Juke. Now, Big Juke is the brother of rapper Yo Gotti.
Govan asked for Young Dolph to be murdered.
Mr. Govan has been indicted and is in custody for being involved.
After he was arrested, he posted online hinting that his own actions might have led to his daughter's tragic death. It seemed like the pieces of this deadly puzzle were falling into place, with every new victim connecting back to Dolph's murder. Dolph's people were relentless, and their next target proved just that. On August 18, 2023, the Memphis Police Department reported that gunfire erupted around 9:30 a.m. at a BP gas station on South Parkway East. Officers responded to the scene and found a man with a fatal gunshot wound, Manuel Benson, Black Youngsta's brother. The shooter didn't even bother masking up, and the police had a clear image of him, which they released to the public along with a $5,000 reward for information. This brazen hit, carried out in broad daylight, was another message that Dolph's crew was not playing around. Manuel's death pointed fingers straight at PRE, Paper Route Empire, Dolph's crew. Black Youngsta had a long-standing beef with Dolph, initially inherited from Yo Gotti. Back in 2017, Black Youngsta was arrested for an attempt on Dolph's life when over 100 shots were fired at Dolph's black SUV. The feud between Black Youngsta and Dolph had been intense, with Black Youngsta always ready for a showdown.
Where we at right now, cuz? We in Cascade right now, cuz? What Dolph at, cuz? Where he at, cuz? Where he at?
Now, he was left to grapple with the pain and anger of losing his brother, caught up in the vicious cycle of revenge allegedly carried out by Dolph's people. Throughout all this chaos, the main figure in the CMG collective music group beef with Dolph, Yo Gotti, seemed untouched by the retaliation, but Dolph's crew was determined to make him feel the pain too. They almost doubled down on his family, even targeting his mom. Luckily, she managed to escape, but his brother, Big Juke, wasn't so fortunate. Ironically, Big Juke was attending a funeral when he met his own end. The day he was killed, he was paying his respects at a loved one's service. This act of violence was particularly brutal, sending a clear message. PRE artist Grove Hero had gone online after Dolph was murdered, claiming that it was Big Juke who put the $40,000 bounty on Dolph's head. Grove Hero had warned that it would be on site if he ever encountered Big Juke, and now it seemed like his words had turned into a grim reality.
I put $40,000 on my head, and I'm finna do this, bro. Anybody that associate with you, and this ain't got nothing to do with them other folks, bro. It's Juke, and Gotti really ain't got nothing to do with these. But Juke, his brother. It's Juke. It's Migo.
So, it looks like they were totally committed to catching Big Juke off guard. On January 13th, Anthony Mims, aka Big Juke, and his brother Yo Gotti attended a farewell service for their relative, OG Eric Bolden. A video clip shared by YouTube journalist Seti Nash shows both of them paying their respects at the casket. According to Nash, who claims to have reliable information, there were two guys in the back of the church watching Big Juke closely, waiting for the perfect moment to catch him slipping. That moment came at the repass after the service, outside Perion's restaurant and event center on Winchester Road. Yo Gotti was lucky not to attend the repass, otherwise he might have met the same fate. Big Juke got into his vehicle and it's rumored that Yo Gotti's mom was also in the car, but that didn't stop the shooter from opening fire, spraying bullets at Big Juke and another person in the car. Miraculously, Gotti's mom managed to escape the vehicle and run for her life, avoiding the fatal shooting. Big Juke was rushed to the hospital but sadly did not make it. Onlookers and surveillance footage captured a white SUV with no license plate speeding away from the scene, and now the police are on the lookout for that vehicle.
Police are looking for a white Ford Explorer SUV in connection with the shooting. It has dark tinted windows and black wheels.
This all seemed to come full circle with Big Juke. After Dolph's murder, Juke was one of those always mocking Dolph. In one clip, he was seen making fun of Dolph's death and taunting his artists about joining CMG for money. In another video, he disrespected Dolph while filming a mural of him. As more information surfaced, it became even more evident that these killings weren't random. They were all connected to Dolph's assassination. Video footage surfaced showing Big Juke chilling with CEO TZ, who was reportedly involved in Dolph's murder. They were seen hanging out together at Juke's birthday party, showing how tight they were. But that's not all. Big Juke was seen in photos with Hernandez Govin, the man authorities claim orchestrated Dolph's hit. With these connections, it's no wonder people are saying that if Yo Gotti isn't careful, he might be next in line. Everyone knows about the infamous beef between Yo Gotti and Young Dolph. This rivalry goes way back and has had serious consequences. Yo Gotti was Memphis's brightest rap star until Young Dolph came onto the scene. In 2014, after releasing his mixtape, High Class Street Music 4 American Gangster, Young Dolph appeared on Sway in the Morning to discuss the project. During the interview, Dolph explained his decision not to sign a record deal with Yo Gotti, stating that he wanted to invest in himself rather than join another artist movement.
Cause I got too much of my own time and money invested in it. You feel what I'm saying? So, like I said,
and I know Gotti respect that because he did the same thing.
This decision reportedly offended Yo Gotti and became the root of their beef. On February 11th, 2016, Dolph sent a subliminal shot at his Memphis counterpart on Twitter, alleging that Yo Gotti was not happy with his growing success. He tweeted, quote, "Bro went from being my #1 fan and wanting to sign me to being my biggest hater," referring to Gotti's failed attempt to sign Dolph to his CMG label. In February 2016, Dolph raised a few eyebrows when he announced that his debut album would be titled King of Memphis. Yo Gotti had often referred to himself as the King of Memphis, so Dolph's album title seemed like a direct shot at Gotti. The friction between the two rappers intensified on March 2nd, 2017, when Gotti's CMG artist Black Youngsta posted a clip on Instagram disparaging Dolph and questioning his claim of being the King of Memphis. Black Youngsta also threatened to slap Young Dolph. He then upped the ante by showing up in Young Dolph's South Memphis neighborhood with a few of his goons, capturing the scene on video while armed with heavy artillery.
Where we at right now, cuz? We in Castaigne right now, cuz. What Dolph at, cuz? Where he at, cuz? Where he at?
Despite this, Yo Gotti later claimed that he hadn't asked Youngsta to take these actions. The beef escalated as the rappers released diss tracks aimed at each other. The situation took a violent turn when Young Dolph's car was shot at multiple times. Fortunately, Dolph was unscathed due to the SUV he was riding in being bulletproof. However, he wouldn't be so lucky the second time. Young Dolph was shot outside of the Shoe Palace, and news broke that Yo Gotti was named a person of interest by the LAPD. Sources said that both Yo Gotti and Young Dolph were staying at the Lowe's Hotel at the time of the shooting, and members of their entourages got into an argument that escalated into a fistfight and then gunfire, leaving Dolph wounded. Yo Gotti was charged with attempted murder in connection to the incident, but the charges were later dropped. However, it seems the streets never forgot, as Yo Gotti keeps losing people around him. At this point, it is clear nobody's untouchable, especially when it comes to people who loved and respected Dolph. They're willing to do whatever it takes to get revenge on anyone involved in his murder, and these bodies that have been dropping are supposedly just the beginning. Word on the streets is that there have already been countless killings over Dolph that we don't even know about. It really makes you wonder if those involved in his death still think it was worth it. Celebrations over street hits always end in mourning sooner or later. RIP to Young Dolph and all the others who lost their lives in this chaos.